Oh, and we're live.
And we're like, well, you were supposed to hit it anyway.
Oh, was I? Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, that's cool. So I
Smack
didn't
it
fuck
up.
anything up.
Smack it up like Johnny Depp.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
Oh, it's either that or a Diddy party.
Oh my god. Good morning, everyone.
Oh
It is
my
October 7th, 2024. It is a Monday.
Yeah, a very well, it was a lot worse before. It's a very overcast Monday over here in New York. I guess we're
It's
supposed
gonna
to
be
be
hot today.
Yeah, it is. It's like supposed to be like 75 humidity.
But you want to hear something funny?
What?
I had to turn on the heater this morning to knock the chill out of the air because that nighttime air that you sleep
Right.
with is totally different when you're trying to get out of bed air.
Right.
Like I was
Yeah.
shivering. I was like, all right. And it stunk so bad because it was the first time. And it was just like, it was only for 15 minutes and I'm probably going to regret it on the electric bill. But it was like
Right.
fucking cold. I couldn't function.
Right. Well, it's that what is it? Yeah, it's like that you just turned on the heater smell.
Yeah. Oh, it was smelling fresh all through the house.
Right. Like something was burning.
Ew.
Right. But yeah, it's supposed to be like 75% humidity over here. And so my mom has a hurricane on her end. I think I might have one coming, like there's one coming like more East Coast soon in the next like week or so. I'm not sure. Mom had mentioned that there was like, oh yeah, there's another
Somebody needs
hurricane
to tell
coming
these
your way.
motherfuckers it's October. It's October
Right.
hurricanes. What are you
Right.
doing?
Yeah. Well, for her, she says that that's when she sees most of the hurricanes is in October.
Yeah, our peak is usually the end of August.
Right. But oh my god, it's like I saw because one of the YouTubers that I watch, they live in Ashland.
Oh yeah.
And the update video that she did almost gave me a panic attack because it reminded me of
Yeah, dude.
Sandy all over again.
It's rough.
It's rough, yeah. So I can't even like
We can't even segue to a happy moment. Are you
I
ready
know,
for this?
right? Absolutely not, but hit it.
Trigger warning, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
morning, Daphne.
good morning, Nita. I mean, yeah, it's like because I was watching like these videos, and it's like, oh, great. It's like I spent last week watching videos of genocide happening in real time, and this week I spent watching videos of natural disasters wiping out entire towns in real time. I'm in such a good mood. Good morning.
Yeah, I had to stop. I had to stop.
Yeah.
I know it's bad. I know it's bad all
Yeah.
around. And it's
Yeah.
like, yay.
Like I said, because this was a YouTuber that I watched, and it's like, she's literally showing how her entire town like almost like washed away, like completely like disappeared. But it's like, and it's like, holy shit, it's like, oh.
Right.
Like I said, I'm having Sandy flashbacks. And mind you, I live in an urban area that would be like the number one place to get help if anything were to happen. You know? And it's like, and I still saw some shit.
Right.
I mean, it's like I remember watching people get into fistfights at gas stations in a city where everybody walks.
That's usually before the fucking storm. It's
No, this was after. This was after.
Oh, after they were fighting the gas?
Yeah, it's like
for
we
generators and shit.
live in a city that you walk everywhere. Why are you fighting for gas? And the thing is, though, the way most of the houses here are built, it's illegal to have generators. So people weren't buying, they were buying them for their cars because they didn't want to walk the 2 to 3 blocks. You know, I mean, it's like, are you like nutty? Are you guys all nutty? You know? Or I watched people like wait for buses for 3 hours because they didn't want to take the 20-minute walk over the bridge. Like, and people were fist fighting, and it's like, oh my God, they really do mean it when it's like they say that we're 3 meals away from total chaos.
Yeah, I've seen chaos break out, but then I've also seen in the aftermath the unity of a community.
Oh yeah.
Like, and to me, that's a beautiful thing. But the chaos, man, like I can remember after Katrina, the first time we came back home and started assessing the things we needed, we'd gone out to the one open store within 100 miles that was fucking open to shop. And I remember watching these 2 women fighting over the last can of baby formula.
Right.
And that to me was just like, holy shit. And for me, Jaden was just born. She was born during the aftermath of Katrina. Jeez. Actually, in the midst of it, it was so close together. There was a mix up that Jaden had a duplicate social security number, because the Department of Records was destroyed and everything, or the Department of Vital Records. But anyway, I was so grateful in that moment that I breastfed my children, because I couldn't imagine what I would have had to done in that situation. Because would I have been like jumping in there and trying to take them 2 bitches out?
Oh, right.
Or
yeah, I know.
Been,
really?
There's got to be another solution. Let's go find a goat or some shit.
Oh, right. No.
Like, you just don't know. But then during the 2016 flood, where the entire fucking southern half of Louisiana was underwater, once the water receded, when we were all without power and electricity, I watched neighborhoods come together and fucking cook for each other, bring in power supply sources. AT&T was down for a long time. Verizon customers were fucking handing over their phones to people and just like even adding them to their fucking plans, to help them out. I mean, it was fucking beautiful.
Right. Yeah. No, because there's one video. So after I watched the YouTuber that I watch, it it's like, how it starts recommending, hey everybody in the chat. Jesus Christ. I saw you, Joseph, Rob, great. I saw HR. Hello. Maybe instead of like starting off on such a depressing note, how about I just thank all the beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. And if you're watching us from Facebook, if you're watching us from LinkedIn, come on over to YouTube and join the sexy people in the chat. And while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. Look, Tris, we're not going to spend the entire video talking.
No.
Helene, but it's like this is I mean, it's like it's something similar to what I was talking about on Friday, where it's like, it really does make you remember that, it's like, oh, what I'm doing,
check your privilege.
It's like, what I'm doing is actually pretty cool, almost borderline stupid, but I get to do it, at least. Oh my goodness. And you know what? Let's go into the intro. So hello everyone. Comics, yes. Oh, hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
I have anxiety. That means I'm in my shell and have a hard time expressing myself. I find it difficult to engage with others. So everyone shut the up, because my anxiety is up here right now.
Really. And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which returns to Kickstarter on October 28th with the first trade paperback of the new Tears of the Mother story arc, collecting issues 1 through 4 of this 8-issue limited series. Link to the pre-launch page is in the chat and in the show notes. And I am also known for my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which returns to Kickstarter early 2025 with issue 9 of this 16-issue series. Issue 9 that I am currently working on right now as we speak. Again, it's like that's why I have my glove on. You can read both my comics online at eagleworks.com, EGOWORKS, and Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And you can also read them on Webtoons. Issue 1 of Eagle Raven is just wrapping up on Webtoons. It updates every Tuesday. And issue 1 of Tall Tales is coming to a close also on Webtoons. That updates every Thursday. So Eagle Raven on Tuesdays, Tall Tales on Thursdays, if you want to check out both series from the very beginning. And you can also check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lager, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about it, here is Living on the High Ground. Nita.
So my name is Nita Lanning, and I am a marketer for Lone Wolf Comics, Ethereal Comics, and some others. And I have a YouTube channel. It's called the Indie Comics Network. You can find it at indiecomicsnetwork.com. Yeah. I'm not feeling fantastical.com.
It's .com. Cut.
Well, no, I'm not feeling fantastical either. But yeah, because there was this video, because you know how YouTube recommends videos after you watch something, right? So I watched my regular YouTuber who lives in Ashland, and then I saw another video pop up where it's like this couple who I guess were musicians, and they were traveling through Ashland to go to Georgia. I think, I'm not sure what they were doing. I don't remember what they were doing, and they ended up trapped in Ashland because of the storm. And they said that on the first day, you saw everything flooded and everything, like, as the community was coming together, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, you need anything? It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone was asking, do you need anything? Do you need anything? Do you need anything? Right? By the second day, they tried to leave only to have to circle back to Ashland because all the roads were flooded. There was like a highway that they were on for a little bit where the second lane was complete. It was like a river. Like, it was only the barrier that kept that water on that side, right? I think the BQE looked like that in one of the last storms. And the one that hit us directly, I don't even remember what its name was, right? And then on the third day, the guy started getting nervous. Like, the guy was like going, because by the third day, that's when all the water was running out. Their hotel had to kick everybody out because they ran out of water, and they couldn't legally, I guess they couldn't keep anybody there because there was like no way, there was no water or anything. The food was running out, and the guy was like going, it's either today or nothing, because we have to get out of here. Things are getting really dicey now. Like the first 2 days was cool, but by the third day, forget it. And they were talking about especially that the water was so contaminated that even just to wade in it, people had to wear kind of like Tyvek, and they had to get like suits because they were getting chemical burns from the water. And also it's like, especially if those waters, like they flood like a pig farm or something, and it's like, nah, forget it. you don't want to even look at the water.
No.
And they were saying that they had to get out of there, because it's like, the whole coming together shit, I guess, was kind of like wearing off And the guy was saying, yeah, it's beginning to feel dangerous. And I think
yeah, shit gets real when you realize help's not coming immediately.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because they were saying how
it does.
How the national
when you're waiting for helicopters to drop rations, then it's fucking. That's when the reality. Like this conversation is literally giving me PTSD.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, when you're waiting for the Red Cross to drop fucking, or not the Red Cross, because fuck them people, and I can explain that later if people want to know why. When you're waiting for the fucking National Reserves to fucking drop food to you and water to you with parachutes, and there's nothing but fucking helicopters flying over and not a fucking light anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, it was, So I was just like, I was like this watching the entire thing. And it's like, cause that shit's real. Who posted? Nicholas. He had posted a thing about a guy said that it's like, cash was king, that it's like there was a good thing that he had cash on him because all the machines were down, like hotels couldn't make hotel keys. But I was like going, but it's like, unless those businesses like know how to run analog, the cash is not going to do you any good. Because I can only imagine if something like that like really happened here, like you have these Gen Z
can't even count back change,
right? They can't even count back change. Like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this? Right. I can't do anything without the computer.
That's when we have to, as a society, we have to round everything up to the nearest nickel.
Right. Yeah.
Or nearest dollar.
Right. They're gonna go, what? like really, it's like I could, like, because that's what I was imagining. Like, you got the kid behind the counter at the hotel. It's like, oh, I can't do anything because everything's down. Oh, but I can pay you in cash. Oh, I can't take the cash. I can't open up the register. The register won't open. It's like, I mean, it's, no. But yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, I think I have to check on my supplies again. Oh my goodness. But comics, yeah, sure.
Right.
We can talk about comics. Yay. So what's going on your end, Dita?
I have no idea right now. All I can do is I'm like in the war zone, Daphne.
No, sorry.
We got all kinds of great campaigns. You can check them out in the show notes.
That's true. There's a lot of campaigns. Yeah.
I'm doing some updates on the channel, and like I'll be downgrading the StreamYard.
Right.
It's just a whole bunch of.
But that's not until the end of the
bullshit.
Year. Yeah.
Like just the tiny details that nobody gives two squirts of piss about.
Right. Well. So okay. So here's a question for you for today.
Oh no.
What's in our circle of indie comics? What makes an indie comic legitimate?
The fact that it actually gets published.
You would think, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like, because it's something that the man Jose were talking about the other day, right? And well, it all started off with a comment that he had made about another creator commenting about how, I guess, like Dan Mendoza has another Zombie Tramp comic out, a campaign out, right? And they were kind of, they were kind of talking about, like, they were saying, oh, it's like he only launched today and he already made $30,000, right?
Right.
And my answer to that when people do that is because it's like, why are you counting someone else's money? Like what does Dan Mendoza making 30 grand in one day have to do with you?
Right. Why are you counting his money?
Right. And it's the same thing with people like going, oh, well, Brian Pulido, he makes 6 figures in 20 minutes and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, so he does. All right. And Todd McFarlane made $1.6 million.
Everybody's so worried about everybody else's fucking money.
Right. so it kind of like had me thinking that it's like it's a zombie. Oh, it's a zombie tramp action figure. Okay, so good for him. Okay,
yeah, right.
Right. Honestly, if he did a Sugar Pop one, I'd probably pick that up. Is there a Sugar Pop action figure? I would have to look because I would pick that up. His Unicorn Girl, I would pick that up.
Right.
See, Unicorn Girls are nothing special. We all got one. It's what you do with it that counts. So so it's like, yeah, so I was just like going, it's like, yeah, okay, why are you so worried about that, right? And then it's like it kind of led into this thing. It's like, it's like, what is it with people? Well, actually, okay, no, it didn't lead up into that. Then something else happened. Okay, something else. This other thing happened that made me think about that.
Okay.
So Jose had mentioned that he had seen a post from somebody actually reading and criticizing indie comics.
No, boy.
And pretty much that they were like,
and I bet you they picked the best of the best too, right?
That they say, oh, this is the worst indie comic that I've ever read, and blah blah blah. And the other thing, and they were like talking about some other indie comics too. And that's what made me kind of think that it's like, what in the end, it's like, oh, like it's like a lot of people, I don't know, maybe me also, it's like we kind of like have this thing in our head where it's like that we kind of expect something to happen that legitimizes what we do. Rob, what did Rob say? That was a mouthful. Someone even commented in the green room before mine and JD's show last week about my campaign's funding right away with no effort.
That's because nobody sees the back end bullshit,
right.
And it's
which
like
pissed me off. I worked my butt off before and during the launch. It's like the thing that I had said. Everybody is jealous of your success. They're never jealous about what you did to get there. Right. They're never jealous of your work. They're jealous of your success. They're never jealous about your work. And it's like, and yeah, that was the same thing with Dan Mendoza, right? Where it's like, look, I remember seeing Zombie Tramp, I don't know, since the late 90s, the early 2000s. I mean, I don't know. We had a friend who was doing like sketch cards for the guy, back in the day. Like, I can't even remember like how long I have seen Zombie Tramp.
Right.
So the fact that he can fund 30 grand in a day, it's like, yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
Good for him.
Right.
Good for him. He's put in the work all these fucking years.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, right. So the whole thing about legitimacy, right? Because there was also this other thing that it's like, this is more in fine art where they said that, oh, hello. Thank you, Roden. Hello, my friend. Where it's like, art doesn't become legitimate until there are critics. That the critics that their role in the environment is to legitimize art. Right now, say what you will or whatnot about that. Like I said, this is more fine art, but I'm kind of wondering if there's kind of a similar thing where everybody wants to have their book legitimized. They want to have their work recognized, right? But what does being legitimate look like? Like, is it about the money? Like, if you could raise $30,000 in 24 hours, would that mean that your book is legitimate? Like, it's a legitimate comic? Or, there's this scene in The World According to Garp. Look, I'm going to get to my point eventually. I'm going to get to my point eventually. So there's this scene in The World According to Garp, right? I barely remember this movie, but for some reason, this scene was like seared into my brain, along with the car crash scene that if you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. In this scene, right? So Garp is an author, He's an author, and so is his mother. But his mother, who is played by Glenn Close, who is a kind of like this radical feminist figure, like she wrote a book that became kind of like a manifesto, and it became a runaway bestseller or whatnot, and she gained all this notoriety because of it, you know, as a figure, a feminist figurehead, right? And Garp was an author too. And there was this scene where he's pacing at night and he's like really, really upset about how successful his mother's career is compared to his. That he feels that he has a very minuscule career compared to his mother, and they're both novelists, right? And the wife is trying to tell him that it's like, look, you know, she wrote this different kind of book, but it's like, she goes, look, the critics love you, the critics love your book, right? And Garp is like screaming, no, but I want financial success. Right? Like, it didn't matter that people loved his book. It didn't measure up to the financial success that his mother was getting from her book. And he was pretty much beside himself with that, where it's like, even though people loved his work, he felt that without that financial success, that he didn't feel legitimate. And that's kind of, I guess, what was kind of like going through my head with like this kind of discussion about Mendoza and just, you know, like kind of like indie comics in general.
Right.
Is that we work hard, you know, we're all working. It's like, look, I'm going to take the Alan Moore route of this. It's like, even the worst comic requires a lot of effort for it to get done.
Yes, it does.
You know, paraphrasing. I'm loosely paraphrasing.
Right.
And you know, so the books that we do require a lot of work to get done. But you know, and people want to be recognized for that work, but what is it that they really hold? You know, like is it like winning an Eisner? Is it like the financial success, you know, funding, you know, 6 figures in 24 hours? Is it being like critically acclaimed? You know, shit, even just having, you know, people in indie circles going, yeah, that's the book you have to read.
Right.
You know, it's like what is it that people are chasing that would like, yeah, like what's legitimacy? Like because it's like the whole thing with like complaining that Dan Mendoza, the effort doesn't always translate to people wanting to read it. Well, that's true. You know, but at the same time, it's like, does a book that funds in 6 figures in 30 minutes, does that say that book is worth reading either? Like, does conversely, is that true? You know, like if a book makes money, does that make it more legitimate than a book that doesn't make money? You know, so
no,
you know,
not necessarily, because if you may find it, well, I guess it also depends on who are you looking to legitimize you. If you're legitimizing yourself, if you're not trying to seek the validation of others, then just having a complete book to offer on a table or to throw up on Kickstarter makes you fucking legitimate.
Right.
But I mean, not like not everybody is going to be a fan of Lady Death. Like, not every, and they may be a fan of a lesser known freaking they're both just as fucking legitimate.
Right.
Just people tend to jump on bandwagons too when they see largely funded campaigns. That's why we always make people aware that the first 48 to 72 hours on Kickstarter is so important, because if your numbers are hitting real low those first 3 days, later on we don't see that the progressive growth trend, it tends to plateau and it gets even harder and harder to reach your goal at the end.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Right.
That's a fucking crazy ass question. Like, because again, it's just another way of being like, what validates me? You know?
Because you see, my grandfather had this really awful saying. Is that, and it was, is that your effort means nothing if nobody pats you on the back for it. You know, and I'm kind of wondering, like, how many people take that to heart, you know, that it's like, how many of us in these circles, it's like, it's kind of like, that's why a lot of us kind of like bug out really easily. Because it's like, well, it's like, yeah, nobody's patting me on the back. So, did anybody see my book? It's like, we don't like the whole thing about critiquing books, right? And it's one thing to critique something like from Marvel or DC because they're so removed from us.
Right.
That it's like, what are the chances? I mean, it's like, yeah, well, what are the chances that we know somebody that personally on a book at Marvel and DC that we're not going to like give it like an honest review, right?
Right.
So it's like, so even if you give it an honest review, it doesn't seem to matter because they're just so removed. But indie comics is so small, even though there's a lot of people that we don't know, like to have somebody go, oh, this is the worst indie comic that I've ever read. Right. And I'm like going, is it really? And
is it like, what? Call me. Right. Call me.
One, is it really? And two, it's like, what's even the point of saying something like that? I mean, like, what's even the point? I mean, indie comics.
Let me kick this little struggling man.
Right. You see, because it's like indie comics. I mean, it's like us as a community. I mean, indie comics is I know that my to read pile is so huge. What is it that I'm pretty sure there are books in there that I'll never read. Kind of depressing. Because it's like there's a reason why there's indie comics and mainstream comics, right? And indie comics and indie novels has kind of like the same stigma as well, where if it's indie, it's considered lower quality because it doesn't have the same I guess like commitment to quality that like a traditional publisher or a mainstream publisher, like you don't have, like you're editing yourself essentially, if it even gets edits at all. It's like maybe you get like a friend to read it and then you publish it, right? Like we're literally amateur press essentially,
right?
So it's like, for anybody to kind of like compare to like want to compare us to what the mainstream is doing or what traditional publishing is doing, is like kind of like apples to kumquats. I mean, it's not even oranges. It's kind of like it's not that we're lesser, but it's just that we don't have $1 billion conglomerate behind us. We don't have teams of editors that their concern is making sure that your book sells, that is written in a way that it sells. Not that it's like, oh, well, you're hiring me to just proofread, if you even get somebody to do that, and and it's like, yeah, and it's like, and I think that's why I guess like for like a couple of moments as a community, there's like this little excitement about awards shows, like the Ringos, like, it's like, I don't know, whatever other awards shows that they popped up and disappeared, like those, we have to ask Jeff and I. So, because it's like, especially when an awards show pops up, that's when it's kind of like, the legitimacy question pops up. Like people literally get mad.
First of all, we need to legitimize these award shows, okay? Because like the majority of the smaller ones I've seen,
right,
the Every Podcaster's award show,
right,
they have either always been rigged or,
well, technically all awards shows are rigged.
you know what? Everybody gets a goddamn trophy. You know what?
You know?
Fuck it.
Well, but you see, but that's also the thing too, right? That's kind of like the opposite, right? That's the trophy. That's the indie comics. That's the indie comics
Everybody gets
trophy.
one. Everybody gets one. Jeez,
but that's also the reason why people got upset with the whole like everybody gets trophy shit, right? Because then it's like when you actually get a trophy, it doesn't mean anything, i.e., it's not really legitimate. Right. So legitimacy is something that a lot of people do kind of concern themselves about. Like I think like the Ringo Awards, I think we can say is probably
the Ringo Awards are valid.
Right, because
Eisner, valid.
Right.
But there was one in particular that did named Publisher of the Year. They had a Publisher of the Year category and picked a fucking publisher that's not even paying their fucking artists.
Yeah, it was very
and a few other things that were really shady about it. It's like, and everybody made such a big deal out of it.
Right.
It's like, dude, that ain't shit.
Right. Because it's like like when the Ringos, right? Like I said, let's say the Ringos, right? Because I think we know more people who are nominated for Ringos than we know people who won an Eisner.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think in indie circles, right? So, and people get mad when they don't get nominated for a Ringo. You know, and mind you, the Ringos you self-nominate, you know, and people get mad when they don't get nominated. And, you know, so the idea that, and I think so, and I don't think, so it makes me wonder, it's like, you know, what are you really mad at? Like, are you really mad at not, like I said, you can self-nominate for the Ringos, but I think what they're really mad at is the idea that nobody else nominated them.
Right.
So if nobody else nominated them, does that mean that their work is not legitimate? You know, it's the whole thing about nobody wants to hear you talk about how good your work is. People want to hear other people talk about how good your work is. So it's like, you know, so yeah, so it's just that whole thing about, you know, like what is a legitimate... Oh, Robert says, I think the pros voting the second half of the Ringos is an odd way to choose winners. Right, because that's why, yeah, they're just voting for their friends at that point. Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. I mean, I was going to nominate myself for the Ringos until I realized I had to spend $200 on graphic novels to get graphic novels
buy your nomination.
To give them away to the judges. And at that moment, I realized, are they still mad at not being the popular kid? Like, I kind of wonder if that's part of it too. We all have grade school, high school trauma that we're still working through. What about the projects we love thing on Kickstarter? People take that shit personally. Yeah, I for a little while I took that shit personally too. Like I would get irritated if I didn't get it, even though I never really saw a difference in getting it or not getting it. And my second highest backed book. Well, my highest backed book, which is Viking Slut, didn't even get Project We Love at all, and I ended up with 244 backers on it regardless. You know, and the way it skips too, You know, it's like
Right.
how is it that one issue of Eagle Raven can get Project We Love, and then the next issue doesn't, but then the one after that gets
And
it?
I've seen some
Right.
questionable stuff get it too.
Right.
So sometimes I wonder if that shit may be just randomly
But but the thing is, though,
generated.
it's very. It's like what did Napoleon Bonaparte says, that you can get a man to do anything for a little piece of ribbon.
Mm.
And it kind of felt the same way, where it's like it got to a point, like I said, I would get irritated if I didn't get the project we love.
Right.
And it's like, why? Wait, what? Yeah, it's like, how did that happen? Like, but again, I think it goes back to legitimacy, because I got it in my head that it's like, well, if I get Project We Love, then that means somebody at Kickstarter likes my book. And I don't know why I all of a sudden felt that was important.
Because it made you feel validated.
Yeah, right. But even though it was meaningless in what it actually did, Grant says, we work in an industry where we're pouring our hearts out, and it can be hard to get any validation. Right. So here, so circling back, right? It's like the first 4 issues of Beowulf got the Project We Love thing, and the other 2 didn't, but it's the same storyline. Yeah, that's what I don't get either, right? Is that like, Lou says, I celebrate the small things, like managing to find the go live button the other day. I gave my look, what's really exciting? Not accidentally pressing launch my project when you're approved, and you realize it's like, oh shit, I accidentally went live. I know that happened to one creator where she accidentally, and I think Jose's done that too, where he's accidentally went live when he wasn't supposed to, and he just fuck it, he just let it run. But yeah, so it's like, so going back to the whole Dan Mendoza thing, right? It's like, oh, Dan Mendoza just launched and he already made $30,000. And it's like, what's the implication there? Like what's really the underlying issue, right? Is that why you mad that you don't make $30,000 in the first 24 hours? That it's like what? It's like, are you implying that could have been you? If it wasn't for Dan Mendoza, that could have been you. And it's like, no, it couldn't have been you. It's not going to be you. Why? Because you never did what Dan Mendoza did. You weren't building up a very particular project for 20 years to get it to this point, to make $30,000 in 24 hours. I mean, that's what I don't understand. It's like, it's like the guy who complained about Rob, like, oh, you fund without effort. Fuck you. That's like 13 campaigns worth of effort. How many campaigns has Rob run? Like 12 or something? I don't know. A lot of campaigns.
Okay, so 9 books, 2 volumes. Yeah. Rob, answer the fucking question.
Yeah, how many campaigns?
There he is. He's in the chat. How many campaigns? It's like 13, 14, 15.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's like, no, 15, that's 15. 15. That's 15 campaigns worth of effort. It's like, fuck you for saying it's effortless. Right? I mean, it's like, look, it's like, it took me, like, I think I'm just hitting my 20th campaign. Right? And it's like, and it's like, no, that's a lot of effort for what I have. It's like, it's like, no, there is no easily funded, for us. So it's like, do I do better than other people? Sure. Does Rob do better than me? Sure. But it's like, I'm not going to say, yeah, Rob, you fund so easily. You don't have to do anything.
Whoop Daddy just comes on and does his thing.
Right. Yeah. It's like, no, we know that's not true. We know that's not true. I mean, probably Rob has more anxiety and PTSD over this shit than we do. I mean, no, it's not effortless. So what is it? So is it because that you feel that the money is legitimate, Like, right. So if this person made $30,000 in 24 hours on a campaign with me, oh, I'm legitimate. I'm a legitimate comic book person, whatever that means. Right. But here's the thing. It's like, what if you had people reading your book and enjoying your book, but it doesn't reflect in sales? You know, the GARP situation. You know, it's like you're not financially successful, but everybody who reads your book loves it. You know, I mean,
that's more. That's the
would that?
best
I mean,
validation.
is that less? Right? Is that less legitimate than not making 30 grand on a campaign?
No. But that money helps.
Well, yeah, the money always helps because we live in a capitalist hellscape.
Yeah, so we're in this dilemma where we can't say the money doesn't matter, but no, the important thing is growing that audience and keeping that audience and them coming back. Right. And with that, the money naturally follows.
Right. Well, yeah, of course, because it's like the more people that legitimately like your work, not just yanking your chain, not pity fuck buys. I'm talking about people who are excited to see your stuff. Right? The more of those you have, right? Yeah, the money should follow. Or the money, you know, it's like Jose was telling me yesterday, the day before yesterday, about this guy. He never heard of the book or anything. Like, again, like tossing out numbers here. He's like, oh, it's like the guy made $30,000. And right off the bat, I asked Jose, is this a Webtoons comic? And he goes, I have a feeling it is. Like, I kind of think it is. Like, it's some kind of web comic. And I go, yeah. It's like, because we've been seeing that too.
That's a big trend.
You know, where it's like we're seeing these. I mean, even like, look, even if you look at Kickstarter's top 5 most funded, like one of the books in like the top 5 or 6 is a comic I've never heard of, but it's a web comic. Never heard of it, but it's in the top like 5 or 6 most funded comics on Kickstarter.
Imagine that.
Right? Yeah.
Webtoons that everybody was like, oh, I'm not putting my shit on there. I'm not throwing away my shit for free. Remember that shit in the beginning?
Right.
Fuck Webtoons. And
it's like, okay, well, that's on you. You know, I mean, that's your choice to make. But it's like, is it's like, are the books that are in the top 200 most funded books on Kickstarter, are they more legitimate than the bottom 200? Like I said, if you had a book that was critically acclaimed, whatever that means, because we really don't have a critical circle in indie comics. I mean, nobody reviews comics, indie comics, not seriously.
Right.
You know, and also you have the dilemma too, that it's like, do you really want your book reviewed, or you just want a pat on the back from somebody? You know, you're just, again, it's like, are you looking, are you really want a review, or are you looking to just be validated? And I think that's kind of like it's like legitimacy and being validated. That it's like that you're not working in vain, I guess. That you're not wasting your time. And that's kind of, I don't know. It's like, that's kind of weird, because like, yeah, like with Ego Raven, right? Like, it kind of bugs me that it's like that I don't know, that I never really, no, I don't want to say it like that, because I have 155 people who loyally come to every campaign.
Right.
So I don't want to delegitimize what they're doing. Like, I don't want to like insult their support. You know? You know, I don't know. You know what it is? You know what I think that I just have to do? I have to go into a campaign, into one of my Ego Raven campaigns, and it's like, and just say, it's like, you know what? Everybody who's read the book, you know, it's like, give me a couple of sentences as to what you think about it. And just ask, I think that's what I have to do. And just ask the people on my mailing list who's read the book, what do you think about it? And depending on what the answers I get, I could probably use that as, like the social proof. That's like, oh, it's like this person said this and that person said that,
Right.
And I'll be asking the people who actually bought it and read it. As opposed to like trying to like dig for people. It's like, oh, can you read my book? Can you give me a pull quote? Which is always like the weirdest thing I had to do. That was kind of like, I don't know. I felt kind of weird doing that when I needed pull quotes, because it was a whole, that whole, oh, you need social proof because people want to see somebody else talk about your book.
Right.
But again, it's like, the book gets done regardless of whether I have any of that or not. Like I've told you that it's like, once I finished penciling out Eagle Raven, it would have been very, very easy for me to just say, oh, I'm done. And just left it at that. But that's ridiculous. It's like, I have to put it out on Kickstarter. So, I'm working back on issue 9 right now. I'm doing, the inks and colors for it. But it's like, I don't know, like for me, like just the book existing and it being finished, I think finishing it is what really legitimized it for me. Like it really like, oh, I finished a story, but that was more like a self-accomplishment. Now, whether people take it more seriously because it is complete, I don't know. Like, oh, hey, Odin. I'm glad you asked me for issue 1 because I've been a fan since. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. I don't know. It's like, yeah. So it's like, so what are we chasing here, really? What are we chasing here? Like, yeah, like why are we so concerned? And I'm speaking of the royal we, because I know it's not just because I used to do it too. Count other people's money. Right? Like, why is it that we get uptight at someone else's success instead of going, it's like, oh, it's like, they worked really hard and, they're really successful. But instead it's like, oh, why isn't that me? Well, I don't know. Why isn't it you? Are you doing what they're doing? The whole, don't complain about.
Have you been doing it as long as they've been doing it? Have you built your audience in time?
On the effort you didn't make.
Right.
Are you putting out a sexy girl toy that yeah, right. Are you putting out? Yes, are you putting out? It's like, are you putting out a sexy girl toy that, like I said, look, I don't know anything
sexy girl toy, that's just
right. Well, as opposed to a girl sexy toy, which is different. But like I don't know anything about Zombie Trap. I don't know anything about Dan Mendoza. But if he puts out a sugar pop toy, I'm gonna pick it up. Why? Because it's a unicorn girl. I don't I don't care about the backstory or anything. It just fits that little fetish that I have, and then it's like we just move on. So let me see. Odin says, because people feel like just because they got invested in an industry that was their own personal choice, that they should be rewarded. Right.
They're entitled to its success.
Right. So that, yeah.
Where's like, my trophy?
Right.
Where's my money?
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's like, what have you been doing? It's like, and just because you put in the hard work doesn't mean you're going to get the same results as a Dan Mendoza or a Brian Pulido. Right. And I just find it funny how it's like, those are really the people, those are mostly the people that most people obsess on, as if there's nobody else in the top 200. Right. It's like whenever like a webtoon comics makes 30 grand out the gate. It's like,
Nobody's like, where the fuck? How the fuck do you do this?
Right? How'd you do that?
Yeah.
Like, they've been on webtoons for the past 10 years. I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's just kind of funny. Well, because also I think part of that, right? The reason why especially Polito and Dan Mendoza get kind of shit on at the same time as getting like this jealous, like, oh, why did they make all that money? Is because it's a combination of, it's like, it's kind of like, oh yeah, they're jealous that they're making the money, but at the same time, they can dismiss it by saying, oh, they're doing titty comics. Of course they made that money. Well, I'm not doing titty comics, but why didn't I make $30,000? Right? But then whenever a webtoon comics pops up, nobody's saying, oh, well, they just did a Weasel Lion King with Weasels comic. Why did I?
Right.
It's like, no one, like webtoons gets its own hate, but it's like, but like nobody really obsesses on it. Like the way they do with Mendoza and Polito.
Right.
And I think, I don't know, it's just like, well, look, it's like there's these webcomic creators who are not doing that type of work and they're making money, but you don't seem concerned about them.
Right.
But at the same time, they don't consider webtoons legitimate.
Right.
So there's that word again, right? Legitimate. So it's like, I really do think that Odin has something there, saying that they feel like
anybody that questions the legitimacy of a fucking comic just because it's on webtoons is fucking insane.
Right. Yeah.
And anybody who questions the legitimacy of growing an audience on webtoons is fucking insane.
Exactly.
Sorry,
because it's
fellas.
like, because it's like,
sure, not everybody's going to have time for it, but like we've always said, you have to pick and choose your platforms.
Right. It's like, look, if you want to get immediately rewarded for hard work, go into finance. It's all about money. You get money. The more money you make, the more money you get paid. Go into finance, right? It's like it's like you made a choice to come into a creative field where it's like, look, if you don't like roller coasters, you're going to hate this even more. You made the choice to come into a creative field doing niche products, making niche products for an even more niche audience, right? And then at the same time, you want to complain that you're not being rewarded for your work. And it's like, well, why is your reward all coming from the outside? Why? It's my grandfather says, right? It's like, if nobody's patting you on the back, it doesn't matter. What you did doesn't matter. And it's like, and like I said, that's a horrible thing to say. Because it's like even it's like, look, my audience could stay at 155 people and I will continue doing Eagle Raven to the end. Because I have this compulsion to do it. Even if I had half that, I have this compulsion to do it. If it came down to it, I would get a job and then just post Eagle Raven to webtoons. But no matter what, it would still be coming out. Like, my satisfaction, my validation comes from the story existing. Right. That's why awards make me suspicious. But then again, also, I kind of wonder how much of that too is that I'm suspicious of any type of positive interaction with my work, which is a completely different issue.
That's going to be something, that's a conversation for you and your therapist.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, if anybody compliments my work, I just have oh, you're just saying that because you're being nice.
What you want?
Yeah. What do you want?
What do you want?
So it's I kind of wonder if that's why I'm very dismissive about awards and things like that, because it's like, oh, it's all fake anyway. Right. It's all fake. So it's like, why would I get like a sense of honor from, from that? But then at the same time, you have something stupid like Project We Love, where it's like we get completely addicted to the dopamine hit of getting Project We Love. Oh, I got Senpai noticed me. Who the fuck is Senpai? Why does it matter? Why does it matter that Kickstarter gave you Project We Love, right? Why is that important?
Right.
And we get like completely addicted to that. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe my point is like, stop counting other people's money. It's not you, and it's like, and unless you're willing to do what they're doing, it's like that's never going to be you. That it's like, and it's like, there are easier ways to make money. If money is your validation, there are easier ways to make money.
Right.
Than be in a creative field where the muses are fickle. So I don't know. It was just, I don't even know what point I wanted. Yeah, they make the comic awards make me suspicious when my book isn't nominated. But that goes back to what I was saying before. Is it? I mean, like the Ringo Awards is self-nominated. So is it really that you're not nominated, that someone else didn't nominate you without you having to make an issue of it? Like, oh, it's like these people didn't go out of their way to nominate me. So I must not be loved, right? It's like it's just, I don't know, maybe we're all just messed up in the head. Well, we are in comics after all. But yeah, it's like, like stop counting other people's money. If it's not in your hand, it's not yours. If it's not in your pocket, it's not yours. So don't count it. It's like, oh, that's my money. That should have been my money. No, it's not. You know how I know? Because it's not in your pocket. That's not your success. That's not your hard work. I mean, it's like, if you want, it's like, that's not the niche that you're catering to. Like, really, it's like, how can you get mad at guys doing TNA books? You're doing, I don't know, just anything else but that. You're doing anything else but that. And then you're going to get mad at them for catering to a niche. It's like, do you see how silly that is? It's like, it's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's like, why are you looking outside for validation when the validation should be a job well done, should be you're doing the best that you can in a medium that you want to work in, that you chose to work in. Nobody forced you to make comics. Do you enjoy it? It's like I said, I think also it boils down to a lot of people like this is a lot of people think they're running a business when they're really just have a monetized hobby. And I think that also elevates the expectations that they have for their books. It's like, oh, I'm a business, so you have to make X amount of money. Why?
Right.
It's a book. It's a creative endeavor. It doesn't have to do anything but exist. The question is that whether you like it enough to keep going even when it doesn't make money. Is it to death do us part? Is it, it's like, remember, it's like, if you're married to comics, it's in richer and in poorer, right?
Right.
It's not like I'm only married to comics as long as the bitch brings home my money. It's not, that if you really want to do this, you're doing this regardless of what anybody says, about it, whatever the money it makes. And yeah, I know it's hard to think that way because, like I said, we live in a hellscape where we need to make money to feel validated. Because if we could live off of it, right? But like I said, easier ways to make money. If money's your validation, there are easier ways to do it. But also, it's like if you choose to be in comics and you're not doing what these other people are doing, then you can't claim their success would have been yours either. And you should, you know, because like you're not doing what they're doing. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what point I'm trying to make here. It's like I said, it started off as a conversation me and Jose were having, and it's been bugging me. You know, it's like what is this legitimacy we're chasing? You know, nothing wrong with a monetized hobby, not at all. Not at all. I'm not saying otherwise. My accountant says that's exactly what I have. I have a monetized hobby. You know, and I'm okay with that. The work is still getting done. I'm still spending the time to get it done. You know, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was just trying to like figure out this conversation that we were having, and like I still don't know. I mean, it's like, look, all I ask is stop counting other people's money. Stop claiming other people's successes should have been yours when you're not doing nowhere near what they're doing. You know, it's like, because I think that when you spend your time focused on other people, you're not concentrating on what you need to do to get the audience you need to get. And I don't know, sometimes we have to come to the conclusion that our audience is not here. I mean, it is. I mean, a part of it is, but not all of it. So you need to get creative as to where your audience is going to, you know, where your audience might be. Maybe the fact that you're spending all your time trying to sell, trying to sell a certain type of comic in an environment where they only want Airstaz image 90s stuff. You know, it's like that's obviously not your audience. It's the reason why I'd rather put my stuff on Webtoons than Global Comics. Because I think that the audience that I'm looking for is more on Webtoons than on Global Comics. Global Comics is more about like they come off more like mainstream type of digital comics, and it's like, well, I'm kind of here already, and I kind of already got a sense of the audience that I'm surrounded by, and that's why I haven't really rushed to put anything on Global Comics. Webtoons, on the other hand, I have an archive there right now. Like I said, we're just finishing up Eagle Raven issue 1 on Webtoons. We're just finishing up Tall Tales issue 1 on Webtoons. Whether that's going to lead to anything, I don't know. But at least I feel like I'm in a proper space to share my work. So I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, stop worrying about what other people are doing. Yeah, and don't come on someone's show and disrespect their effort.
Damn straight.
It's true.
Damn straight.
It's true.
Yeah, because
everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
$0. It costs $0 to not say stupid shit. No, for real. For real. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's all I got, Nita. That's all I got. I don't think I solved anything today.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just a stream of consciousness. Just reflecting on the bullshit.
Yeah, you know, just like I said, it's all based on a conversation me and Jose were having, and it's like, you know, what's the carrot we're chasing? You know? It's like, you know what, because one last thing, right? So it's like, you know, so if, you know, what if everybody loved your book, but it didn't reflect in sales, right? But what if you made $30,000 in 24 hours, but everybody agreed you made the stupidest book they ever read?
Hookers and blow for all my friends. I don't give a fuck.
Right. You know, so
Okay,
it's like, yeah,
it was
so
stupid. Here's my stupid monies. Here's my stupid monies.
you know, so yeah, so you know,
They
so
go fuck themselves.
right. So you know, this is in the end, it's what we're arguing, right? You know, in the end, it's what we're arguing. So any final words, Nita?
No, I'm good. I'm good. People are no, they're impure.
Yeah,
Impure.
they're impure. I don't have any final thoughts either. I think the entire show was my final thoughts. I don't know.
This show was a final thought.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I got for today. Yes, I agree. Oh my goodness. So thank you everybody for joining us in the chat and putting your 2 cents in this economy into this conversation. And thank you so much to our beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. Like I said, it's like next time. It's like, look, I know you're probably out there just like listening to us as background noise, you know, while you're working, actually working. Instead of doing this, we're entertaining you. At least we're entertaining you, right?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
You know, so at least you got that, right? So yeah, so thank you everybody for spending your time with us. And for those of you joining us later, thank you so much for watching on the show, and we apologize.
And we're sorry.
Right? So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and all my upcoming campaigns, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. You can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook if you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates. And remember that you can also see me on YouTube as well, on my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, for an archive of 600 plus videos and live streams and draw streams and speed paints and tutorials, and my semi-weekly art live streams Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours of me just working on whatever and talking with the chat. It's kind of like being at a convention, but you never have to worry about blocking my table. Also, you can also read Eagle Raven, Air the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday before the campaign starts for that first trade paperback, collecting issues 1 through 4 on October 28th. And as I said before, both Eagle Raven and Tall Tales is on Webtoon. Eagle Raven updates every Tuesday. Tall Tales updates every Thursday. So if you don't want to pick up a book yet, you just want to check it out, see if it's the type of stories that you like, head on over to Webtoons and you can read both of my books for free. You know, and maybe we'll catch you on the campaign. If not, you know, I hope you enjoy it. In the end, that's all I ask, is that you enjoy the 2 stories anyway. So that's it for me. That's it for me, Anita. We will be back on Friday for another edition of whatever this is. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll catch you next time.
Toodaloo.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.